Greetings, everyone. This is Griffin Gaming RPG, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. And we're back again, another Sunday evening. Hope everybody's doing good, taking care of yourself, being safe out there. And we are joined today with a very, very special guest, a good friend of ours who's become a faithful follower of our group. He don't pay attention to him. He knows who we're talking about. He's the one guy that's the lightest on the screen, so you'll know who it is. But it's Shiver Bathory. Shiver, why don't you say hi? Tell us a little bit about yourself. We're happy to have you on the show today, man.
I'm Shiver Bathory. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Wait.
I do stuff for.
Yeah. I do stuff for Relay. I do a show on the base, and for those of you who might know me from somewhere else, I also do VTM stuff, which is very, very different. Thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here.
What is this VTM thing that you speak of?
It's an attempt at doing a horror TTRPG that ends up being horrifically funny.
Vampire the Masquerade. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
We were doing
Shiver,
we were doing a show the other day.
Tell people the time of day you do it. Tell folks when you do it.
Oh God, now I've got to do maths. Maths wasn't part of the deal, man.
Just do UTC. UTC is all. It's fine.
That's
UTC.
maths.
For those of you who don't know, Shiver is in Japan, so he's trying to make it easy on us folks, especially in the U.S. But just go ahead and say whatever time it is. We'll figure it out.
I think it works out as Friday, Saturdays, midnight UTC over on twitch.tv/Shiver_Bathory.
It's around 7:30 Eastern on Friday.
7:30 Eastern in the U.S. Okay, cool, awesome. So go ahead and finish.
Thank you, Ms. Hutz. It's Friday, Saturday, 6:30 CDT. What's CDT?
That's Central Time. That's where I'm at. That's Central for us. Those folks in the Midwest in the U.S. use CT time.
Yeah, so I was still correct.
Fastcart's on the East Coast, so he and our good friend Kemi, they hold down the East Coast here in the U.S. for us. Well, thanks again, Shiver, for having you on. We're really glad to have you on. Been excited for the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a genuine privilege to be here.
And let's jump over to our good friend Kemi. We haven't seen Kemi in a couple of weeks, but he's back. He's been busy as always and always dressed down to the nines. Actually, I got to give it to both Shiver and Kemi. They both outdid. You've noticed me and Fastcart. We're just plain black shirts today. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, Kemi, tell everybody a little bit about you, man.
Oh, man. Just big fan of the game, guys. I mean, without question, big fan of seeing them make these tech hurdles, sticking to the narrative of what the concept was from the beginning, and just seeing that progress and seeing this company mature and become this big badass makers of the BDSSE, literally. Let
me jump in for a minute to show you how dedicated Kemi is. Not only is he dressed to the nines, but he didn't talk about himself. What did he talk about, Fastcart? Did you notice, Shiver, what he talked about? I tried to get him to talk about him. This guy's mind is 24/7 Star Citizen, okay?
All right.
So, no, that's cool, dude, because that's you, and that's why you're great to have on the show. But that's how much he loves this game, you know. I'll put the plug in for him. KEMI65 on Twitch. You guys check him out. He does a lot of detailed stuff on his show. He's kind of on at different times, mostly in the evening, right, Kemi? Most of the time?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
But definitely check him out.
Throw something in Twitch chat so people can follow you.
Yeah, throw it in there, Kemi. Put folks in there so they know what you are.
All right.
And above him, we have our good friend over in the left corner, Mr. Fastcart. Fastcart, tell us about you, brother.
Yeah, you mentioned that we both wearing black shirts. I couldn't wear red because I wanted to last longer than 15 minutes. But yes, I'm Fastcart. Yes, sir, man. That is all. Got winning already. I'm Fastcart, also known as FT. Sometimes on Relay. I'm on this show. And I'm Miss Hut's show, 80's show on Tuesdays. And sometimes, well, you can see me in chat most of the time on BTM with Shiver on Friday at 7:30 Eastern. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, I was on the Afterpart last night, and that video is up on YouTube right now. So you want to check me out there. I didn't talk too much that time, but it's still fun to show. It's still fun to show. I'm glad Carl had me on.
Awesome.
And yes, I do love the community too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
Yes, we know you do. I've just been notified by Ops Chief that my beeping for my Discord is beeping through, and I don't want to block you guys' video. What's the shortcut in Discord to go to disable, the background noise? Anybody remember?
Oh, streamer mode.
Yeah. Do you remember what it is? I don't want to black you guys out, but it looks like I'm going to have to do it in order to get it quiet in here. So give me one hot second.
all right.
Bear with us, folks. All right, there we
That
go.
wasn't too bad.
Well, I just went to voice activity to make
All
it
right.
easy. I just didn't want to hear my family screaming in the background. So anyway, all right.
Oh gosh, my,
we just
my
lost
screen
Kimmy.
is.
We just lost Kimmy.
Oh my gosh.
There he is.
I'm
There
back.
he is.
Okay, no problem. All right, so listen, guys, today our subject today is going to be on exploration. And one of the things I shared with the guys earlier, and this is kind of something we can toss around a little bit in regard to exploration. If some of us who were around a long time ago remembered that CIG actually put out a survey to the community asking what careers that they feel that they would really want to get into the most. And believe it or not, the one that got the biggest amount of votes was exploration. Not mining, not dogfighting, not piracy, but yeah, believe it or not, it was exploration. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, we want to get some feedback and some thoughts on that. Each one of our panelists today, our hosts here today, just going to talk a little bit about what they feel about exploration and maybe why they feel that the community responded that way. So Shiver, since you're the sharpest looking guy in the room right now, I'm going to start with you. Put the heat on the guy who's the special guest. Just any thoughts you have in relation to exploration and that thing too.
In your average MMO, exploration consists of holding W, going somewhere, usually a cave or a bit of platform work, which is a nightmare, absolute nightmare in an MMO. It really is. It's one of the worst ideas in an MMO is platforming. And then, oh, I've got an achievement for doing this thing that probably everyone else in the game has done also. Hurrah. Exploration in Star Citizen will hopefully consist of actual exploration, going into an unknown system. Maybe there's going to be relics or an abandoned space station or something like that that's going to be interesting, and it's going to have its own story to tell, that you don't just get thrown at you with a text box. You have to actually investigate the thing. A fantasy of mine, which would probably never happen, would be something like you can recreate Alien. You find this egg, and for some reason you stick your face over the egg because you think that's a good idea. One of your crew members gets it on their face, and you've got to deal with this slobbering, towering, psychopathic monster that's just suddenly burst out of someone's chest, and deal with that, or something
Hello,
like
my
that.
baby. Hello, my darling.
Perfect. Something like that, where it's an actual a real PvE. The actual environment is out to kill you. There is this monster, or the environment itself is lethal, and it adds actual exploration to it, where it's, as opposed to just, oh, I found this thing, achievement unlocked, and it's essentially just an empty shell. Hold W, walk around, and like, oh, I suppose I can put together what's here. Whereas they will actually put in a story for you to investigate. There will be something interesting there, hopefully.
Yeah. That's a great point, Shiver. I was just thinking about, there were times early in the game when we first were going to the moons, and I would land someplace at night, right? And I would often say to myself, there's a certain level of security I have being there because I know more than likely I'm the only person there. But the idea of coming off a ship and seeing something or hearing something and not knowing whether it's, something that's tame and not going to bother me or something that will attack me. And also, one of the things I appreciate about the way they designed the layout, a lot of games that people play now, particularly FPS games, right? All you have to do is spend enough time in them, and you basically get to know the map, the layout of the land, and it gives you an advantage when it comes to playing those games. You can land on any of those moons and planets. I don't care how many rocks you think you've memorized. You cannot necessarily find your bearings. So it kind of keeps the playing field, level for people. That'll be, going into these different caves, mines. I mean, some of the caves, yeah, you kind of somewhat memorize them. But, oh, my God, I've gone in caves many a time and still gotten turned around, So for me, that keeps an exploration attitude about it, and not just something that if I do it enough, I can run through this thing very quickly and boom, it's no longer a challenge to me. Kimmy, what about you? What about exploration? Anything, your thoughts on it?
Well, yes, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna compile what you guys mentioned and put it into a narrative. As Shiver mentioned, that it's about what happens once you get there, and as you said, Griff, it's going to those locations. And so when we dial it back and look at the essence of what it is, you go back and you can relate back to the old D&D style of gaming, where your mind is being entertained with these stories and these faraway places and about travel. And now let me take it forward. CR and SIG is offering this opportunity through its tech to actually, literally, as you're all together, to be able to travel to this unique destination together. And then this story unfolds together right before you as one group. And you're seeing this take place, and it happens in real time. And you have the potential to deal with these different layers and levels and these interconnected situations that then is going to call upon one person doing something, that other person doing something, but then everyone is taking in that experience all together. Whereas it used to be with the D&D, each person has their interpretation. Now it's in your face, real time, and you have this level of fidelity and immersion that's going to really pull you into that experience together. And so those choices that you make will affect the group as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing that we're looking at as far as exploration, discovering that unknown and really experiencing it together as collectively as a group. And I think that's one of the very unique things that SIG is offering and that they can deliver on. And I think that's part of why we're here. This is part of why exploration is so popular with the community as a whole, because man, with what we've seen now, and now you're talking about you have the tech to actually back all this up. It's going to be simply amazing, and it possibly funny, possibly dramatic. I mean, shocking, possibly, but you have that potential that each time you go out, there's no win or lose, it's the experience. So I think collectively, that's why this is so really cool.
Something, Kimmy, to your point, and for those of you who don't know, Kimmy's a real big lore person. I mean, he knows a lot of the backstories and everything. And I think that in some ways, this is also the difficulty for the community, because to be honest with you, we've been starved for I would say over a decade from games that have had a storyline that's so compelling that it makes you want to continually come back and also retain the information. And to your point, it's just like making a good science fiction movie, right? You can have all of the green screen and technology, but if the story's not good, you've got a problem. And so I think that the fact that, as you mentioned, there's these different layers, not just the fact that everything looks beautiful, but if you don't happen to know that on, I'm just picking a name, Omega 3, that there's a 12-headed monster there waiting, right? And you just decide to go because you decided not to look into lore or do any background on the destination, you're going to be a victim. Right? But the person who has done that homework now is prepared to take that journey and, like you said, experience it as a group, which is something I think that a lot of people are still missing out on, that lore thing. I know sometimes it seems a little bit, reading and boring, but ultimately that's going to be the thing that's going to really advance you further, in the universe. Yeah, thanks. Fastcart, what about you? What about exploration? Because you've been around for a while. You remember back in the day when they talked about this. What's happening?
Yeah, first before we get to that, as soon as Kimmy said fidelity, it was like a Pavlov response. I wanted to reach down for something to drink.
Have your shot glass real quick.
But yeah, so yeah, one of the reasons I'm in the game is for exploration, but I'm also in for marketing and manufacturing. So yeah, but exploration is like, for me, like I that's how I'm gonna find my materials to manufacture the goods that I want to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of people, it's like you were hinting at, like people have their Firefly fantasy, people have their Star Trek fantasy, people have their Star Wars fantasy, and they want to implement that in some way into Star Citizen. And that's the hope. And I'm pretty sure on some level everyone will be pleased, hopefully. But we'll have to see. But yes, I have a I don't know if you want to get into a ship now, but I have a constellation of Akira. But I almost got the carrot, but it jumped in size before I got to get it, so I don't have a carrot. But that's fine. It's
Yeah.
probably too much ship for me at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Kila, and I have a C15P and Mustang Beta, also known as a Bangstang. So yeah, I'm all exploration ready.
Kimmy, what about you? What exploration ships you got?
Wow. Definitely the Carrack, right? I had at some point the Aquila and Terrapin. I got to add the Terrapin in there. It's the Pathfinder.
Yep.
It's one of the ships that was mentioned in the most recent lore Ortani system, where they're currently, up to this day, they're trying to get radar scans on this system to open up again because of decaying jump points. So, but yeah, Terrapin, Carrack. I think that's the main two that I have as far as exploration is concerned, because of the fact that the Anvil is like the quintessential exploration ship, and it's all about having that team, having those squad members on that ship, and getting into that experience. And it's bang for the buck. It has its rover and has the Pisces with it. So it gives you that multi-role aspect of it. So that's why I'm going to keep it, even though, as Fastcart alluded, it is, when it finally dropped, it was like, whoa, mama, this is a load. She was a load. But, at the same time, you want to, it's about working as a team and having that experience together. And so it is the Carrack for me. Whether, regardless of people saying it's too fat for the hangar and it can't get out of the hangar, I'm sticking with it. But that's going to be my ship.
Shiver, what about you? Any exploration ships?
No surprises. I've got the Carrack and the Terrapin also. I bought the exploration pack when they put that on offer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have so many ships. I don't remember if any others are dedicated for exploration.
What other ships are in the exploration pack?
Yeah.
The Dragonfly.
Yeah. There's something else though. There's 4 of them. I can't remember what the other. Oh, is it one of the rovers? Maybe. I'm the
one is a freelancer.
The tumbles rather.
The freelancer.
There's some. Maybe it's the Dur. There's something else that's in the original exploration pack. There's exploration and there's mega exploration.
I only got the El Cheapo.
Did you get yours earlier, Shiver? Did you get it on this last run?
No, I got it on the last run, I believe. I think it was on the last. I got it with the lifetime insurance.
Okay.
I try not to look back at dates, and then because it says how much money I've spent total, and then if my wife sees that.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm asking is because a lot of you guys may know that the prices also went up when the Carrack came out on all the exploration packages, and the mega exploration packs jumped up to like $1,100, and so there's a big price window there now for getting into exploration. And it is interesting that the Carrack, I think was the Carrack 350 or something beforehand, then it jumped up to like 500. So there was some definite increases in this area of exploration. Kimmy, I want to focus back on something you hit, and then we're going to start talking about the ships. And I thought you brought up a real valid point, or interesting point. A lot of times I hear a lot of people, and there's a little bit of frustration when people want to play the game solo. And I get it, because obviously there are times when we do want to explore on our own. We want to do things. We want to, we have our own game plan, right? We want to make our own money, per se, right? You don't necessarily have to share. But I also look at the fact that I still feel that over the last decade, or maybe a little bit more, we've become very centrally focused in how we play. I remember playing games like Battlefield and even Star Wars Battlefront. And even though those games are supposed to be designed for group play, it's like everybody gets in there and just does what they want to do. There's still no coordination. the first time we got on a constellation, first time I got on a carrack with some people who were into really those ships, people seemed to drop right into this aspect of working together collectively. It wasn't like this, each person was doing their own thing, right? Some
Yes.
people knew to man a turret, somebody else knew to sit in the co-pilot seat, a pilot seat. And I think as those roles get more defined, I think people will start shifting to seeing that each of those roles is important. I know for me,
Yeah.
I have no problem. I mean, I own a lot of ships, but I have no problem being an engineer. Really, I don't. I would not have a problem with being back there changing components or working security on a ship, because I can see how all those things are important. You know, and I know there's some people who
Yes.
want to fly all the time or want to command all the time, and that's cool. But I think, as you mentioned, Chris is kind of creating this thing where every part is important, and that's why there's maybe more multi-crew exploration ships than there are singular person, exploration ships. I thought that was a real good point that you brought out. So listen, let's jump into it, guys. We're going to start talking about these ships because that's what the show is about. Our ships. And the first one that we're going to look at is one of the original exploration ships that was produced by a company that, I guess to a certain degree, it almost seems kind of ludicrous. Look at Kimmy, he's grinning already. That the luxury company puts
Oh
out
yeah.
an exploration ship. And Fastcart, talk about this one a little bit because you said you own this one, the 315.
Yeah, the 315P. It had a remake recently, and it was redone. But I didn't have it. But, well, to put it this way, let me restart. Very beginning, when I first back for Starships in 2014, I bought a 315P and some Hornet variation, I believe. But I most of both of those got a physical package. But my very first ship was the 315P. Fast forward to the recently redone. I upgraded one of my speeder bikes. I have the Ranger package, the speed pack. Upgraded one of those into the 315P again, and I added a coffee maker and one of the other utility things.
Oh, you tricked it out, huh?
Yeah. Just two things.
Just
two
two?
things.
Okay.
I didn't bother with the weapon gun, I believe, or any other stuff. Just the interior stuff. But I checked it out, looked inside, and the interior is really well done now, and yeah, I like it.
You know, one of the things about this ship is that it was different with the other 300 series is that it has the ability to have a tractor beam on it, and it also has a long range this is long range exploration computer or something. There's something else in this particular ship that makes it for exploration. I don't know if it's more long range or the scanning. I think it's the scanning pack in here is
Probably
good for
scanning.
scanning and exploration. So that is one of the things that's very different about this ship. And it is a solo ship. It's designed for one person to be able to go out. So, Kimmy, you grinned when we first showed the 315. What was on your mind when you saw it?
Well, just in general, just overall that and some of the things that you guys mentioned that people want to have that single player experience. It's nothing wrong with that. People have grown up with single player, and that's their way. And also, Chris, I give Sig the credit for respecting that with players, but then also I think with the community, and this is what I love about you guys. You've embraced people, you've welcomed people, and this helps to bring people out of their shell, and that's amazing about that with you guys. But at the same time, Sig is saying that's fine, you can do the single player, we have that available for you, and do that. But don't go crying to Bombo when you get to these planets and you realize that there's aspects of this planet that will force you to say you need someone. You got to have someone with you, because there are going to be predators. There's going to be life forms that say that's come to you and say, "You're lunch. You're literally lunch. Now go ahead and do the death of the spaceman. I'll see you again." but with the aspects of opening up the game and playing it, and you're wanting to talk to people in these locations and these places, these MMO spots of like landing the planet side places, and you can start interacting with people. it will help you to open up and then say, hey, I had fun with this person. But wait a minute, tomorrow we're gonna go into a carrot and we're gonna go here and we're gonna go there. And then they're gonna start thinking back and say, you know what, I'm gonna turn that 315 into a cargo ship just to keep my bottom line up, because now I found someone that I can actually play with and enjoy this experience. And now they know other people. And now that we have these other roles, as you mentioned, Griff, that I'll just be engineer because I want to protect these guys. I want to take care of them. I'm better at FPS, but I'll learn the engineering. I'll learn navigation, but I want to protect these guys for the unknown that's out there. And doesn't that fit into the narrative of what sci-fi is all about, the unknown?
Yeah, definitely.
May I interrupt real quick?
Sure, go ahead, buddy.
So yes, I was looking at the quick specification page, and it said it had the tractor beam and long range engines.
Yeah, long range engines.
That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Good.
And I looked up the
Go ahead,
guys. I'm sorry to interrupt.
okay.
I did look up the exploration pack, and as Shiv said, there's the Dragonfly there, the Terrapin. We also have the Cyclone Tumbler, which is a reconnaissance ship, reconnaissance,
yeah.
where it does the long range radar, and it's fast. But imagine getting in that rover and scanning the area, the unknown. Also, it had the Dur in that ship, along with the Carrack.
There we go. Awesome.
Got a freelancer duck.
Yeah, look at that.
So.
How about a surprise,
Oh,
surprise?
wow.
Surprise, surprise. That means you've been in the game way too long. When you've forgotten how many ships you have, you've been in the game way too long. Way too long.
And you got a shirt, Shiv, Anvil manufacturer shirt, $29.49.
There you go. Shiver, any thoughts about the 315?
I just love the look of the Origin ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after my own heart.
It was nice because, as you say, certainly at the time anyway, it was the only solo exploration ship. We do now have the Mustang Beta. It's to be decided which is going to be better for the solo. But I think there was a lore post that involved just a solo guy himself. The name escapes me, but he found the wormhole solo. So solo exploration is a viable thing. Hopefully, it is something that CIG are going to cater for, as Kemi has said. But
so Nick Croshaw,
at the end of the day,
Nick Croshaw.
That's thank you, and thank you, Dirk C as well. Yeah. But at the end of the day, a 315p, a Mustang Beta is not going to compete with at least the range and longevity of a Carrack. The Carrack is the thing that's going to be your Enterprise D, that's going to be out there exploring strange new worlds and getting itself in trouble every week.
I mean, you can almost fit a Mustang or a 315p inside the Carrack. So.
Yeah.
I mean, the Carrack is almost a mobile base.
Yeah. One of the things, too, all these ships that we're talking about, too, all have the capability for you to log out in them. So when you are out, and I remember in Eve, that was one of the frustrations, was you always had to come back to a base, but here you go. Now, if you're out there, wherever you're at, if, it's time to go eat dinner, you can literally log out in your bed and you'll be okay and continue your journey. So, yeah, 315, beautiful, beautiful ship. Yeah.
Real quick. Also, I believe there's a Reliant exploration, right? Or at least a science version. There's also
Reliant Sin.
You can use that for exploration too. I believe it's a Sin, so that's a possibility also, and that's a two-seater.
Which ship is?
The Reliant Sin.
The Reliant Sin.
Has a scanning suite to it.
The Reliant Sin?
I believe so.
How could I have missed that?
Because the Tana is the.
I don't know what I was thinking about that.
Mako.
I must have missed it or something. I don't know what I was thinking about.
Mako is the news van.
I believe when they first were talking about it, it was a combination exploration and science. But I think they might have moved on to just science now.
Shiver, my two co-hosts aren't paying attention to what's on the screen. Could you tell them what that is on the screen?
Currently, Griffin is displaying the Reliant as we speak.
Okay, so there's the Sin. And by the way, I got to put a plug out. Many of these videos that you're going to see now are put out by a guy on YouTube called Ship Tour. If you've never seen them, he always does a very nice outline, interior and exterior of all ships, and you'll see a link come up for him. But he's on YouTube, Ship Tour. He's done it for every ship in Star Citizen, and he does a really, really great job. So I'll talk about this one a little bit, then you guys can jump in. Fastcart opened up about it. The Sin, there were 4 ships within the Reliant series. I recently, out of all these years, kept calling it the Reliant Core. I don't know why. I didn't know it was called Core. That is the actual name for it. Shiver's like, really? It's the Core. And then there is the Sin, which is the research, science, exploration version, which is what we're looking at now. And then there is the Mako and the Tana. The Mako is the news van, if I'm not mistaken, and the Tana is the fighter. I recently bought this ship because it was the only exploration ship I didn't have. And the reason why I decided to buy it, other than the fact that it has its own exploration area in the back, is that it is a 2-person ship. And if I wanted to do something with one other person, I thought this ship would be great to have. Price point, some people might think it's a little pricey for what it is. I think all the Reliants are a little high, but it's a unique ship. It's very different. They did, as you guys know, did a remake on this just recently, a rework, I should say. And they boosted it with both the shielding, the hull, and also an additional weapon as well. And the height, yeah. It's a lot. It's very nice inside. It has 2 beds in it, believe it or not. There's no cargo area in this one, though. And again, as I mentioned, it has a scanning station in the rear. Anybody want to toss any thoughts in about a ship like that? Yeah, Fastcart.
Yeah, I like the design of it specifically because it reminds me of the B-wing from the Star Wars.
X-wing.
That's what popped in my mind immediately when I first started the concept.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had in the 2012 or 2013 Citizen Con, it had a red ship that was vertical like this one is, but it was I don't know if that was a concept for a different race now, or they're going to reuse it somehow. But I think that ship became this
ship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very
this
cool.
was borrowed from the Xi'an technology.
And again, we haven't completely figured out what's going to be so special about this particular group of ships. I know we keep hearing that, Kimmy. We talk about the Xi'an, helping them design and develop these ships. But I know that, they haven't completely given all the ships that are supposed to have a certain edge to them. All of that stuff has not necessarily been built in yet. So it'll be interesting to see how this one turns. I remember the first time I flew one of these, I was going to do a knucklehead. I decided to take one of these to go do a bunker mission. This is before the rework. And I was flying in, and I said, this thing is nice and narrow and thin. I'll be able to get in pretty close. It hit me one time, spun me around, and I rolled on the ground about 15 times. Seriously.
It's very fragile.
I came to rest upside down in the ship. It didn't get blown up, but it was ruined. I couldn't restart it or anything. So it couldn't take any punishment back at that time. Some people have talked about the ship being, you have to be careful flying it too because of the profile. Because even though it's narrow in one direction, it's wide in another direction. So,
exactly. I'll be just coming from the top and you're done for.
Let me chime in on that, guys. And I think what I said earlier, it's based on the Xi'an technology. And when you look at the Xi'an Scout, one of the aspects of this particular style ship was that it has an advantage on 6 degrees of freedom in space. That type of being able to strafe left, right without a lot of taking a lot of gravity hits or G forces. So that's yet to be done. But I would imagine that because it's borrowed from the Xi'an technology, it will lend to that advantage as far as that flight mode advantage of the 6 degrees of freedom. So look for that as a way to say, well, this what makes this ship stand out. Because they just recently upgraded the firepower, but imagine being able to take an opponent up into the outer atmosphere and using the advantage of 6 degrees of freedom to either escape or disable that other ship so that you can get away. So look for that later on for SIG to stick to that narrative of why this ship is unique from the others based on 6 degrees of freedom. So I think then I'll be ready. Well, I do have the Sentak Ya, which was the fighter equivalent to the Xi'an Scout. So that was the thing that makes it stand out as well. But these other functions and variants are really cool. If I had to go back and pick one, it would be the Tana. But But I do like the Sin for that aspect of exploration, and you don't have to have a huge complimentary crew to work it.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the wake up call we got from the carrot.
Right.
That was a wake up call, man.
Fastcart?
Real
Huge
quick,
ship.
as far as it comes to like the pronunciation of ship, like a core versus core and the syntax like you are, and breaking the way can you pronounce it? I have no idea how to pronounce it. I heard Chris one time say on one of the letters or something like that, or one of the interviews that he likes it when the community not really argue, but had different pronunciations for ship, because I mean that's how it's gonna be inside in the universe. You know, different people are gonna pronounce things differently. So he's all for that. So pronounce it however you like.
Yeah, and some of us
I
can't
stole it from
read either,
Sherry
so that doesn't
Hyberg.
help. Yeah, really. I'll tell you where I heard it from, because I always thought it was core. Honestly, I did. But when I went back to look at the rework video, and they call all 4 of the ships, the woman in the commercial called it the Core. That was the only way I heard that. So, you know, just like Aegis, you know, take your pick. You know, tomato, right?
Yeah.
So go for it. But yeah, beautiful ship. Dirk, you mentioned in here that this is a science ship, and you're absolutely right. It is considered a science research ship, but we still threw it into the area of exploration. And some people would even argue that maybe the Endeavor would fall into that aspect of exploration too, because it is a science research vessel. So I think that because there's an aspect of, you know, you're doing science and research on it, but you're not doing it while you're sitting at your base. You know, you're doing it because you're going out somewhere and hopefully coming across things, and that's causing you to do the research and science. So that might be why we decided to kind of throw it in and lump it in with Explore. But it's not necessarily truly per se an exploration ship, but we get your point there with that. And Gaz, I also agree with you. Hopefully the co-pilot won't fly out in space when they change seats. I agree with you 100%. Let's go to the next ship. And this is the one that Shiver got excited about because he didn't realize he owned one. That's the Freelancer Durr. Freelancer, a little background on those. Those were some of the original early ships. And again, we saw these get a remake as well. And a lot of people bought the Durr. A lot of people bought this one even more than the regular Freelancer, which I was surprised about. Let's see, I'm going to go to Shiver this time on this one, the Durr, because there are 4 of these Freelancers. Can you tell us what the 4 Freelancers are and maybe talk a little bit about it?
There's Freelancer Max, which is the one that's got a big booty. Freelancer Durr, this one. I forget the name of the other 2.
Miss,
one
right?
was,
The missiles, Miss.
That's another one I bloody
the
own.
boat. Yeah. You've been in the game too
man.
long, you're forgetting your ships. Yeah, listen, forget them and send them my way. Gift them my way since you're forgetting about them. So.
And then it was just a standard Freelancer after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is, you know, the jack of all trades within the Freelancer capabilities, because the Freelancer is essentially a transport vessel.
Mm-hmm.
So the Freelancer Durr, I would imagine, you know, out for exploration, but then you find some great treasure, you can just hurl it in the boot, get going, sell your booty. They're lovely ships.
Yeah, it says a unique design. If you guys notice in the back, there are actually 4 nacelles on this ship versus 2, and those other 2 are for fuel, so it has much longer range than any of the other Freelancer series ships. Those, you can see the nacelles up there to the left and right. And it is a beautiful ship. I think they did a really good job on the rework. I know there are a lot of people who like the original design. Some of you remember there was a ladder that you came in the front near the landing leg and used to come up in the cockpit. And I thought that was a cool way too. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Lost in Space and stuff. But I think they did a great job on this one. Fastcart, any thoughts on this particular one, the Durr?
Yeah, and don't forget the probes that they have on the front of it. Those are features too that on the other.
Oh yeah, yep.
Call those the Opie.
Yeah.
But yes, I actually own the Freelancer mesh in my but yeah, I did because I wanted a missile boat because I had a missile boat in the Star Wars video game. I wanted to kind of recreate that and Trash Citizen. But as for the Durr, I thought about getting it. If I do get it, I'll probably get it inside the universe. I'll probably just make up enough currency and buy it outright in the game. But I don't think I'm gonna buy it using cash. But it is a lovely ship. I do like it.
Kimmy, any thoughts?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Something started there.
You're so
But no,
enamored. You just looking at the video.
I'm just listening to you guys. I'm loving this, man. I'm all in, man. But yeah, I mean, this is the narrative of, do you want a limited size? And if so, this is what we'll provide you. But beyond that, this ship is not to be trifled with. It's not a pushover in regards to it. It gives you the right complement of weapons that will allow you to take care of yourself. And the engines are I think they give a good complement to the ship and what it can do. It can haul ass. You know, as Ship says, it's got a big ass. It can haul ass. But it gives you control in the sense that things are not getting beyond your scope of things. So basically, the 2 to 3 complementary crew members, you're able to do things in a precise way, and it's a little more intimate. But at the end of the day, I think it's value. It's bang for buck. It says it's not over the top. It's like, I really want to invest in this game, but I don't want to get crazy with it. And
Right.
it gives you the ability to do other things other than just the exploration. But it's there. It's laid into. It's baked in on that capability. But it's also versatile. So this is, I think, it's the quintessential space truck.
Mhm.
This is retrofitted to do further exploration or looking for anomalies out there because it has the radar suite to it. But yeah, this is a sweet spot for backers who said, I'm in, but I'm not going to go way over the top, you know. And it's great value. It's great value. And I see why a lot of backers love this shit.
More to Kelly's point. Like I said, I had the 315p and the Mustang Beta, but the Dirt is really tempting to me because, you know, it has bigger cargo, it can go farther, like Kimmy said. So, and like I am, you know, not juggling, but you know, the choice between them. Like I can either melt those two and get a Dirt, or I can just keep those and do whatever. But I mean, it comes down to when, like, as the game get closer to release, I want to see how the specifications and the exploration really pans out, and then maybe I can make a more informed decision about that.
And I do want to point out too, just so you guys will know, I mean, most of you who are in the game know this already, but if you're new to it, these ships are basically moving up step by step from entry level and working your way up. I don't even call it 315 entry level because it's more of a solo ship. But as you mentioned, Kimmy, once you get to the DUR, you definitely have moved into the multiplayer side of exploration. Yeah. This ship has, like all freelancers, there are 4 seats in the cockpit, a co-pilot, pilot. They've never really designated what the other 2 positions are in the back yet, so it'll be interesting to see what those positions are. But this ship also does have a computer workstation in the rear area for doing exploration. So there's actually complement for, you know, anywhere from, as you mentioned, 3 to 5 people operating this ship, and that still doesn't do, you know, there's still the defensive capabilities. As you can see, there's beds in here, so I think there's 4 beds. So there's one man who's got to sleep on the floor if you've got 5 people in there. But otherwise, it is a very, very nice ship and a very different ship. And if you want to get into exploration at another level, this does, as you mentioned, Kimmy, hit that sweet spot right in the middle without getting committed into the bigger bucks. I want to say this too, Fastcart, real quick, just for pricing, so people will know. If you guys help me out on these numbers, I think the 315 ran about $65, something like that, 55, 65
Yes.
bucks. The Sin ran $85. I think the DUR runs about 130, roughly, because the max is 150.
That's about right.
So I want to say it's about 130, 135. So if you're backing, those are the type of numbers you're looking for in relation to those 3 ships. But once we get beyond this, as Kimmy said, we're going to start dealing with the big boys as we start stepping up for those who are a little bit more about doing any form of exploration. So let's jump over.
Freelancer was first concepted. It was touted as a ship from Firefly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's what people used to talk
Firefly.
about it back in the day. Yeah, back in the day.
Spot
that was
on.
it. So we move on to the next one.
on.
Oh, sure, go ahead, Fastcart.
Yeah, so I have it up right now. The freelancer does 135, and that increased from I think it was 125 before. Yeah, 125 before. I think everything except for the main freelancer base model increased by $10.
Okay.
I'm looking for I have to Sin. The Sin is $85.
Mm-hmm.
The 315P is 65,
Okay, so I got them right.
and let me see, my thing beta. Beta is $40.
Mm-hmm. All right, and since you're
chat.
looking up stuff, could you look up what the Aquila's current price is? Because I think that shifted. As
I know
well.
that by heart. 310.
It's 275.
I thought it was.
It used to be 37. It used to be 27. Oh yeah, it used to be 275. Now it's 310.
Yeah.
That went up too.
Wow. Okay.
You know what? Shiver hit a nerve, man. Dude, he just made me think about this. I remember when they first introduced the freelancer and Shiver hit the perfect memory right there. Everyone screamed like crazy because all they could think about was Firefly, and at that time Firefly was like the one that got away, that girlfriend that got away.
Yeah.
Like, damn, she was so fun. Damn. And it was the quintessential love letter. It was the quintessential love letter to
Thanks for the follow.
Firefly. And I mean, Sig hit a pulse with that. So 07 to Shiv sparking that memory because yeah, it was definitely all about Firefly, the look, the feel, the angles. It is. And to this day, people are true to their ships.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to say originally.
Thanks for the
about
follow,
the
guys.
console. The console, and you mentioned the consoles and the freelancer there. I believe the Reliant Shen also had a console station in between. Like
Yeah, I mentioned it has the science station in the back. Yeah, it's a full station, actually a whole sit-down station in the rear of that ship. Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to the Constellation series now, and this is, as you guys know, there are multiple ships in the Constellation series. There's the Taurus, the Andromeda, and then there's the Phoenix, and then of course the Exploration variant, which is the Aquila. Thanks for the follow, junk stuff. The Aquila, Aquila, again, here we go, tomato, right, when it comes down to these names. But this is the next step up, and this is where you are getting serious. And as fastcart mentioned, this is a $310 getting serious when it comes down to backing in the game. Well, let me ask you guys a question. What would be the reason why somebody would move from freelancer to this in your head? Was there any reasons in particular? Yeah, fastcart, go ahead.
I asked the old ones. I bought the freelancer because I had the rover. I had and it has some cargo space, but mostly because of the rover. Like the cost difference between getting an Andromeda and a rover and getting the Aquila, when it was 2005, they were basically the same. Now there's 310. The value is not as good, but if you got it for 275, you're getting a great value.
Okay. And the rover is one of the things that's included in this ship, right? Yep. You also get the P-52 as well, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
So you got the P-52.
So to combine all that,
yeah. One of the differences in this ship too, as you guys know, in the Constellation series, there's usually an upper and lower turret. On this one, there's only the lower turret. The upper station is a science station in this ship. And we had I wish I had a copy of but you see at the beginning of this video when it's panning in, you do see that there's a person in that scanning station. And so there are some other additional values you mentioned between the rover, between the P-52 being added. I think there's also probably a little bit level of greater defensive capability with the Aquila. The Constellation series ships can be tough ships technically. They have a tremendous amount of missiles on them. I've known guys to literally... What gun is that they put on it? There's a gun in the game that's ballistic that sounds like a Gatling gun. I've seen guys put those 4 guns on Constellations and blow everything out of the water. I swear, it is the craziest thing in the world.
Tiger Strike, is it?
No. If you say the name, I'll think of it. But if you're in the back, like in the cargo area or back, you have to literally hold your ears. It's that loud when these guns are going off, but it wipes out. If somebody knows who it is in the game, thank you, Gaz. Matter of fact, Gaz is one of the people who knows about that. The Revenants, those things blow anything away, guys. If you want to know a good secret to that ship to defend itself, put 4 of them on that thing, and I guarantee you blow anything out of the water. Any other thoughts about the Connie series and this particular ship with the Aquila guys?
Well, I like to look
at
it.
Chef.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over anyone if they wanted to, but this is one of the ships that I wanted for a while. Like I have a Taurus, but I I upgraded that to a merchantman, so I lost the constellation. Then I got a phoenix, but I decided it wasn't. I wasn't gonna have too much of a use for it. It looked pretty inside and stuff like that. It's a great home, but I'm probably gonna make my merchantman my home. So I melted that, and then I got the killer, and because like I said, it has the stump fighter and it has a rover inside of it, and it's nice.
Shiver, you gonna say something?
So, tell me if I go on too long about the Aquila, but the Aquila is where you're starting to get into Star Trek territory, in my opinion, because you've got a lot more defensive capabilities in, when you meet the unknown. Unlike the Freelancer, where it's got a massive blind spot on the underside, the Constellation has actually got defenses for that. You've got the rover on there as well. So if you're one of those people with friends, you can just stick a few friends in the rover. They go off, explore the surface. You get back in the ship, start patrolling around, keeping an eye out. You can see what's going on, find out points of interest, have them go and investigate it. Then you've also got that P-52, which, although little, has a hell of a punch on that thing. So you've got so many options on there. And then the actual ship layout itself, that cockpit is built for visibility, whereas the Freelancer's visibility is not great. So it promotes the teamwork there.
Yeah,
it's true. And it promotes the teamwork there because you've got to have the pilot himself has only got a few of the forward-facing guns at his disposal. The rest are all on turrets. So you've got to encourage that teamwork, saying, I can put you in this position here. Your turret man says, I need some more angle here. It's where you're really starting to work as a team. It's where you're actually getting into in-depth exploration. It's got probably about the same sort of range as the Freelancer, but it's built for you to be able to stay in it for longer. Whereas the Freelancer will probably need you to go back, sell what you have, restock, and then go back out. The Aquila, the Constellation has got more options.
That's a good point.
And I like what Traven said. Friends? I don't know this word. What are friends?
Friend.
Well, one other thing about these ships too, by the way, the Connie series does have another feature. We haven't seen it yet. Don't know if it's good or bad, but they all do have their beds are actually escape pods, which is another factor in these ships, and we kind of forget about that. But all the Connies do have that. The Retaliator has that. There's several ships that do have these beds that shut down and become life support, and you can bail out of the ships. So, unlike the Freelancer, unless you just jump out the back docking door, that's about all you can do and float around in space. But hopefully with this, there's some possibility of being rescued if something were to happen. Go ahead, Fastcart.
Which one of these ships has one of those security compartments that NPCs not supposed to know about?
That's going to be the Taurus.
Phoenix.
The Phoenix used to have it. It did. In the original layout, it did have it, but they've taken it out now. And there were a lot of people who grumbled about that. Yeah, the Taurus is the only one now with that smuggling compartment now. So
it does or does not have it?
The Phoenix does not have it. The Taurus does. And that's one of the reasons why the Taurus has been on delay, because they haven't established that whole what's going to happen with that mechanic, I guess. So.
Well, I want to say that's bull.
So you want to be the wealthy guy who's actually smuggling drugs at the same time? Is that what you're saying, Shiver?
Look, I bought a Phoenix. Yeah, it doesn't have to be drugs or anything. It doesn't have to be smuggling. I just, just to mess with security forces' minds, I'll stick something in there.
Dublin, thanks for the follow. Yeah, that's very cool. Okay. All right, so now we're going to step up to the next level.
The next
level.
I want to get a piece
I'm
of
sorry.
there,
I'm
man.
sorry. You want to go? Okay, I'm sorry, buddy. My mistake. I'm actually going
to say you guys are a hard act to follow, but don't leave me behind.
I'm going to take the video back just for you. I'm going to go back just for you. Go ahead, Kimmy. Go ahead.
I mean, it's not much to say because you guys really covered a lot, and I got to give you guys credit. You knocked it out of the park, and it's again, you're a hard act to follow. But when you look at it from a standpoint of why should I buy this ship, on average, you're paying $100 per vehicle. The rover, you're getting the Aquila itself, and you're getting the Merlin. So that's $100 per. And as Shiver mentioned, when they first did the commercial, it was the first thing that the cherry on the top was that panoramic view. But let me So I need to come with something a little different here. Looking at it from a procedural standpoint, imagine this. You finally found an unknown planet or a planet you have not explored yet. So what do you do as a crew, and how you do this procedure? You have one person get into the Merlin and go down to planet surface and scout out and see what's there. And you're communicating this in real time. Once the area is clear, you take the Keeler and land in the area that the Merlin has pointed out where you land. And then basically from there, you have these options. You take the rover out, but guess what? You still have the support from above. So in case you run into something or run into trouble in your rover, you have air superiority from the point of the Merlin itself protecting the vehicle. And worst case scenario, if something really bad goes down, you come with the big guns, which is the Aquila, and pick everyone up and get the hell out of there if you have to. So that's a situation that you could kind of get into and play out into the game. These are the options that you get with the Aquila. That's why it's so valuable. And I'm done.
No, it's a great observation. And those are the type of options people need to think of, because I think most people, when we hear of the P-52, the term we hear is snub fighter. So people are always thinking about it defending the ship per se. But now you've taken it into another aspect of use that definitely says it's for reconnaissance, additional protection, without jeopardizing the Aquila in the process, which is a very, very, very good point. Very good point. Thanks for bringing that up, Kemi. Okay, so we're going to what fast cart?
Sorry. No, real quick. I'm looking at the page for the Aquila.
Okay, I'm going to go back one more time.
No, you keep.
No, I don't want to show the other one until we're ready.
But Dirk said that Dirk said that it does not say that the Aquila includes a rover or Merlin on the buy page. On the page that I just linked, it does point to the rovers, but he's right. I don't see the subfighter, but I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure that
I can chime in. I can chime in, guys. Dirk, I went through a situation where I was looking to upgrade my Andromeda, and I was not sure, right? And someone 07 to Dirk, we fly together. It was confirmed that once I do the upgrade, which the Andromeda, for me, it was LTI. So once I was able to do the upgrade, I looked in my hangar, and there she was. You will have your Merlin, you will have your Land Rover, and the Aquila, of course. So I was really at a crossroads. Same thing with you, Derek. I was not sure, and I was not going to make that pledge until I was sure that I was going to get those extra ships. Yes, it is all a part of that package.
And just so you'll know, Dirk, too, if you look even right now, the Phoenix was supposed to have a different rover. There's some of that they haven't even given those rovers out to people yet. So yeah, so they're coming. It's down the road. But I definitely understand the question, because you do some, and not to mention the website is not necessarily the best point of reference to use in relation to anything that CIG is giving out. So, but definitely, if there's any question about it, I would definitely tell you just write into support just to make sure that you want to make sure that is the case. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one.
And one last thing.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew. See, I'm going to tell you. I'm not letting anyone infringe on this particular ship, because I am a big fan of this particular ship. So that's why I had to let it have its own space. Okay.
No.
Oh yeah, you know we're gonna go there, brother. You know we're gonna go there. All right. So the next ship is again a ship that was done by a different manufacturer that maybe we weren't expecting, and that's Origin. And this is going to be the 600i Explorer. Now, I had mixed feelings about this ship. I really did, for a couple reasons. One, I was looking forward to the 600i, from a touring standpoint, because I'm a big luxury person. When I heard that it was luxury exploration, I was like, okay. And I wasn't that thrilled about it, because I couldn't picture, if I'm into luxury, why do I want to go out and do work? Pardon the expression, but that's how I felt, right? I did. When we got the ship, and I still think it's one of the best commercials that they made, by the way. But when I got a chance to go on the ship and look at it, I I liked it, but it just didn't feel dedicated enough to science for me because there's only the 2 science workstations in the midsection and there's a lot of open space. And so I kind of hope, and for those of you who don't know, CIG has alluded to the fact that they are going to do a redesign on the 600 series based upon what they learned from both the Phoenix and even more the 890. This was the first ship that they decided to do luxury, and they said they learned a lot, and that they said that they're really thinking about going and do a rework on it. So I am curious to see how they're going to change the dynamics of science in this ship. I do love the fact that it has the large cargo area below with the ramp. I'm one of those people that'll put 2 X1s down there versus anything else. I might put a rover down there. The new Origin, well, there's supposed to be a new Origin vehicle that's coming out, and I'm sure based on what I've seen of the pictures of that, it looks like it will fit in this ship and will probably accompany it in the sense of science. But how do you guys feel about the design of this ship? Science and luxury, does it make sense to you? Whatever you guys want to share. And I'll throw it, Kimmy, I'll start with you first this time around since I missed you last time.
Oh no, it's all right. Well, when you talk about exploration and you look at the design aspect of Origin, isn't exploration beautiful in its own way?
Mm-hmm.
And so why does it have to be gritty? Why does it have to be raw? There's a finesse to it. There's a way or a way that you go about exploration. And I think what they're trying to convey, I think they convey it pretty clearly about certain set procedures in science. It's not about finding that planet. It's not about finding that unexplored civilization. Sometimes it's just finding these anomalies, finding these rare minerals, which is valuable, which falls into that aspect of what Origin is about. But finding the event horizon from a distance and seeing it, and it's just like, wow, this is beautiful. But I think with Origin and what they're doing as far as exploration, they're trying to convey that there's so many layers to exploration. There's a beauty in it. There's something to be reveled in, and it's not always about you go to whatever that planet is 284 and you find the aliens and then all hell breaks out. It's maybe just finding the new aurora borealis, something beautiful in itself. So
that's a good point.
It's something in that narrative with that manufacturer, and unfortunately, I think it was conveyed so well that it really hurt the Phoenix because the Phoenix is the poor man's Origin, man. I think they kind of I think if anything, they need to revisit what the Phoenix is, because as far as exploration, Origin knocked it out of the box, and they're putting the Phoenix out of business, man. As far as they're saying that the Phoenix is a luxury, and I'm like, wow, that hurt them. But yeah, they're quintessential luxury. There's things to do, and you can do it in a beautiful and a luxurious way.
Okay, good point. Fastcart, how about you? Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Kim kind of hurt me when he mentioned when he compared the Phoenix to the 600 series. I have to agree, but there's something about the RSI version of their version of luxury versus the Origin version. Like the Origin is too clean to me, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
But the Phoenix, it feels more homely. Like I said, I can actually be comfortable there. Whereas in the 600 ship, I was like, I can't touch anything. Everything is pure white. I don't want to get anything dirty. So, but yeah, I mean, I one thing that we haven't been talking about is the music in some of these commercials, because Pedro Camacho did the music for this one, and he probably did the music for the other commercials too. And I fell in love with the music for that, especially for this 300 series commercial. And how it starts off black. Like I was looking at the screen just now, and it's all black. And I thought the video headphones. Then I remembered, oh, take them off for the kick in. But it probably is going to be a ship I'll get inside the universe, like using in-game credit. I don't see myself buying this with outside or cash for this one. But I do like it. It's just too clean for me.
I will say this real quick, and then we'll jump to Shiver. When you were talking about music, I remember I was at VerseCon the year this came out. It was in Austin,
Right.
and I remember sitting in the room, and every ship that I've always bought them, with thinking in mind what career I want to do. You know, what I want to be able to do in the game. And I've always thought about, well, if I get tired of doing this, that looks like a great ship and a new career I could maybe do when I want to change gears. This is the only ship I ever bought that I didn't care what it did. When I saw it, I wanted it. I thought the design was beautiful. I was sold on the commercial. Usually I never first day when they come out buy something, but I literally said I don't care what this. They didn't even show the interior on the ship, and I bought it. So I love the design on the 600. Now I have written in some complaints about the 600 because I think that one of the things that I don't like about it for it to be an Explorer, and this is based upon what they did later with both the Phoenix and the 690, there are no side ports on the ship. So if you're in any of the areas, you can't see outside. You're completely enclosed. And I wish that they had allowed for some type of visual that you can see outside on the 600. Other than that, I mean, there's some other things too, but that was one of my only physical complaints about the ship. But otherwise, I think it's beautiful. Shiver, any thoughts on the 600i Explorer?
First thought, and perhaps the most important, is based on the advert for it. I'm glad they decided to make it bigger, because when they first showed it there, 2 people were bigger than the actual ship. So making it bigger was a good idea.
Hey, Crazy, thanks for the follow. Not you.
But I think it's like Dirk and I'm sure someone else said it. Gaz said when it comes to the luxury exploration, I think they're quite right, because the first thing that they said when they said that came into my head was a scene from Star Trek Enterprise. Sorry, I'm a fan. Was when they were all gathered up on one of the observation decks and they were just watching this stellar phenomenon happen and having a party. It's like that's exactly what I can see them doing with it. It's a wonderful thing. And you know, as Kemi said as well, exploration doesn't have to be gritty. It can just be, let's go around and look at the universe and see what it is. That is a form of exploration, and you can make your money on it by saying, you know, we're going on a 3-hour tour. Who wants to come with us?
That's awesome.
It's a lovely ship. It's a very nice niche to have filled.
And I'm always kind of interested because when we do our luxury show, I'll get into this more because I'm a big luxury fan. But I'm always amazed at the fact that some people, have not seen a place for luxury in the universe. You know, they definitely see the military side, they see the exploration, the mining, but they kind of say, well, why would anybody buy a luxury ship? You know.
Wait till you see Terra.
And so, yeah, I know. Oh, I know. And a lot of other places that you can only go in a luxury ship. But to my point, it's just interesting that, like you said, they've allowed for different people to, you know, depending on what their thing is that they like to do. It's giving us options, and it's not forcing us into any area. If you don't like luxury, don't buy one. That's fine. You know, I'm not a big military person. I've got one fighter. That's it. You know what I mean? And I have it because I'm in an org, but not because I want to have a fighter. I have a whole lot of other things that I want to do. Were you going to say fastcart?
To your point, I think it's because most people, when you think of luxury and movies and TV shows and stuff like that, they tend to be like the bad guys or shady characters seem to have those type of commodities more so than the everyday person. So that's probably that might be part of it. Like in my head, I'm thinking about Fifth Element. The bad guy, Oh, what's his thing? He's in Bishop. What's his thing? The actor. I'm blanking on it.
Bishop.
Lance Henriksen.
No. Commissioner Gordon from Batman. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Oldman.
Gary
Dracula.
Oldman. He's in Fifth Element too, right? Yeah. But anyway, so like characters like that tend to go for luxury, and people probably don't identify with that.
Yeah. All right, and last but not least, did I get everybody?
Before that, let's go back to the translation kilos. No,
All righty. Well, now we go to the great granddaddy of them all. It's also the most recent of the exploration ships that has come out, and that is the Anvil Carrack. A lot of controversy about this ship. Here are some of the controversies. It was an early concept. People felt like they waited a long time for it. In fact, there was the whole joke of Gib Carrick and people asking Disco about the Carrick and when is the Carrick coming out, and we just heard Carrick.
It's Disco's favorite ship.
Yes, it was always his favorite ship, right? And so there was this constant thing about the Carrick. I remember the first time we saw the one animation CIG put out that had the Carrick sitting on a surface. If you guys remember, there was a camera that panned around it, and we saw it, and we're like, "Oh my God, look at this thing! It's beautiful." And then, CitizenCon 2949, we saw it at CitCon, and it gained a few pounds, and people were not happy. This is a classic example of something that I've heard Kimmy say this before in the past. That one of the things I appreciate about the Star Citizen community is that, one, we're very passionate about stuff, and two, we're very vocal about things. But the thing I appreciate even more is that CIG does seem to listen to the community. There are some people who think that they don't, but I distinctly remember the designers going back and saying that they were going to go back and relook at the ship. They explained why it had to grow. They explained that there were some things they had to remove. One of the things, for example, was that there was a spiral staircase that was in the ship. There were a whole lot of things that they said that when the metrics for the ship, when it was first designed as concept, the metrics for Anvil had not been completely put together yet. And so they said we had to get rid of some things. But then they also did go back. And if you look at that ship that was shown at 2049 at the convention and the one we have now, they did slim it out more. And ultimately, they found a compromise to make sure that we could still do the gameplay that they want in the ship and at the same time aesthetically satisfy the fans. And I think we did finally come to a mutual thing where maybe people were a little reluctant, but once they got on board it, they were like, wow, this thing is actually pretty cool, So I'll let you guys talk about the Carrick a little bit. Talk about the commercial, talk about the Carrick, talk about what you think about exploration, whatever you want to share.
What do you got, Shiv?
Yeah, Shiver.
Oh, really? Me first?
Yeah.
Oh, God. So when it was first touted, it was going to be one of the most modular ships they'd made. It was you could take basically everything in the middle out, swap it out completely. I don't know if that's still the plan or not, because they've been a bit quiet with what's happening with modularity. Although they have said modularity is still a thing, it's still going to happen. But that on that particular bit is quiet. But this is as close as we have right now to the Enterprise D. When they did that preview for it and they just showed the corridors, I was like, oh my God, that is the Enterprise D. I want. Oh,
Yeah.
The only thing that I have a problem with is the fact are we going to get a bigger one? Because this isn't quite capital, is it? And I kind of want a bigger version of a Carrick, because I'm
bigger one than this one?
Yeah. You know me, Fastcart. When it comes to ships, I'm a size queen.
All right.
Size diva.
I want a proper Enterprise 683 meters long ship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to get lost on this ship. But this is it right now, isn't it? The Carrick is the ship that you're just going to get your friends in, if you have any, or your NPC crew, and say,
What a friend.
That way, let's go.
Yeah.
And then just see what is out there.
Yeah.
That is what it's going to be. That is the big exploration dream of, let's just pick a direction, go and see what adventures we have. Brilliant. I want it. I have it. I want more. Give me more Carrick. Simple as that is the summary.
Beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, Kimmy, any thoughts on the Carrick?
Well, I like what Shiver alluded to. Having the opportunity to become, to work as to simulate into that crew aspect of what this ship is about. And it's one of the most versatile ships. But, and as you guys mentioned earlier, the progression of what it was in concept into what it became, all the things about the, what do they call that? Oh, God. I gotta, the struts. It was a big thing about struts.
Yeah.
I don't like the way she strut her stuff. And he's like, the struts. it turned into a meme. It turned into a big joke. And now it's like when it was released, we're loving the struts. It's like, what? Wait a minute. But that was always the narrative with the Aurora. It lets you feel as though you're in a structure. And to this day, they have yet still to create the meteor shield on the cockpit. And they had some tech hurdles because it was there was too much tech debt as far as trying to implement that to make it functional in game. But they've overcome that hurdle, but yet we've yet to see that actually happen in game. So it also alludes to some of the things that we're going to find out there on the fringes, like meteor storms and such. But yeah, I definitely like the aspect of where it was and where it is. It's still close. It's close to the concept.
Thanks for following, Loic.
I'm going to add this. You guys made some great points, Shiv, but I'm going to add this. What will backers do if they actually get the first alien exploration ship? I'm just putting that out there. What's going to happen?
You know, it's interesting because Ms. Hartz made a point a few minutes ago. She said the question isn't asked who has a Carrack, it's who doesn't have a Carrack, right? Because this ship actually was purchased by a lot of people. And it's interesting because considering that it's a pretty big ship, like Shiver said, it's not capital class, but it's pretty close. It's a pretty large ship. And it's not a single solo person ship. I mean, if you've been on this thing and taken it out, you know you need a crew. You do. It's a tough ship. It is tough. And I'm sure, we're not anywhere near balancing yet, so we can't go by how it responds now. But it is a tough ship that can defend itself. It can take a bit of punishment. Very versatile in the sense of cargo. Multiple vehicles can fit inside of it. It has its own medical bay. It has the area for the Pisces or any other small ships to go inside of it. It has the cartography area. It has the drones. I mean, this ship is packed and loaded for what it has, right? And once those mechanics all dial in, even a repair room, right? Lunchroom, a whole bunch of stuff in the ship.
I mean, you're on the fringes.
I mean, this ship really bang for buck if you want to be able to have a ship where all your crew members have functionality, not just a gunner, and not just an engineer. I mean, not to mention the engineering room, double level engineering, huge components. I mean, this ship has a lot to it. One of the things I love about this ship, they made the levels very distinctive. You can tell when you're on the tech deck, when you're on the habitation deck. I love the idea of what they took from, at least I think this is where they took it from, Prometheus, with the double lever in the cockpit area, where you can pilot the ship from upstairs, standing, or from downstairs in the pilot's seat.
The entry ramp.
The elevators that are in there. I mean, there's a lot to this ship that's pretty amazing. So you ask yourself, does that warrant the increase in price now when you look at all the things that are in it at $350 versus $500? It's a big jump. But I think for all that you can do in this ship, you mentioned, Kemi, earlier about when you talked about the Aquila, the price because of bang for buck what was in it. I think this ship in many ways does warrant it once all those mechanics are really functioning in this ship. Now, there was something that our good friend Cosmic Trader mentioned to me, and we've all posted this in relation to this ship on Spectrum. The Pisces currently does not have a recording deck to record when it goes through wormholes. And one of the reasons why a lot of people bought this ship is so that when we do find a wormhole, you could use the Pisces as a way of going through smaller wormholes and recording, and then it would come back to the Carrack. So we're hoping that CIG does implement that into it. Hey, Scuba Steve, thanks for following, buddy. He's hosting us. Oh, thank you, dude. We're hoping that they do implement that into the Pisces, because then it becomes a ship that is, working in tandem and not just a shuttle. I remember the first time,
Merlin.
The first time I went out with a group of people in here, I think there were about 6 of us on this ship, and it was amazing. Nobody said, let's role play, but everybody did. Everybody went and did something. We had an instance where we ran into some people. Everybody got into guns. We had another instance where we wanted to land on a planet, and we were on, I think it was Microtech, in fact. And, it's a big ship. Somebody got into the Pisces, went down, as you mentioned, Kemi, went down to the surface, found a landing spot for us. We could track them from the ship. We went down. They found a perfect land, because that thing down is a beast. You got to have even ground on it, even to be able to use the ramps. They found the perfect landing area for us. I mean, there was a cooperative playing when we did it together. This ship definitely demonstrated it probably more than any other ship I've played, where people felt like they had a role. So I can imagine what it's going to be like when you've got cartography running, when you got the drone room running, even the medical area when that's running. So I think there's a lot of cool things about this ship. Who didn't I hit? Was it?
Quick interjection, if I may.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
That's one of the beautiful things about Star Citizen, is it doesn't force you into role play. It encourages a form of role play that if even if you're not going to do the cheesy kind of role play of the engineer parts, and you are an engineer and you role play as an engineer, it's a position on the ship that urges you to be an engineer, so you can communicate without doing the I'm the engineer here kind of thing. It's a genius way to do it.
Yeah, it is.
Shivers inspired me for a new word.
What's that?
Virtual cosplay.
Virtual cosplay.
Okay.
Fastcart, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk about the cut.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to bring this up. We haven't talked about prices. The 600i, back to the 600 real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 600i is the Touring is $435, the Explorer is $475, and for the Carrack it is $600. But it used to be $350, and now the big jump in price.
Is it 600? I thought it was 600 if you went credit. Is it 600 cash? I thought it was 500 war bond and 600 credit. No?
Credit for 600. I'm looking at the ship upgrade because it's not available for sale like an online.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, 600 credit.
Yeah. Wow.
So but yeah, it's like when I first started in 2014, my guildmate on Full Tour, he's the one that got me into Star Citizen, and he bought the credit, and his plan was to have it all on his crew. But back then, we thought the game was coming out in 2 years. But as time went on, he decided to melt the credit because the game wasn't out, and a lot of people lost interest. They'll move on to other games. But when I heard the credit was closer to being released, I already had my key left. And the difference between 310 and 350 is only $40. So I thought I would get the tech, but it jumped in price, and I couldn't note enough ships that I wanted to get rid of in order to buy the pack that
buddy.
So I didn't get. I'm one of the few people who don't actually have the correct, but I'm fine with that because now that I'm looking at it, it's a big ship, and it's really too big for someone who don't have a dedicated crew when you're buying it.
Mm-hmm.
If you get people, get friends later on, that it works out. But as far as for right now, I'm the only one who's gonna fly it, and it's just too big for me and expensive at the moment.
So what you're saying is we should go back to the Aquila.
Yeah.
Well, someone did ask me about the 600, so we'll address that in a bit.
How many suckers? I threw my hand up because it's to say, how many suckers bought that $20 paint job?
I'm a sucker, brother. I loved it.
But it goes back to what Shiver was saying. That color scheme, it screamed the Enterprise D.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that immediately. It was obvious. It was thought out well, and they knew that. It wasn't inadvertent. It wasn't a mistake. It said Enterprise, and you saw the striping, the red stripe, the white color, and it was just like, $20 is yours, buddy. Enterprise D, give me a gold shirt, give me a red shirt, give me a green shirt. No, don't give me a red shirt unless I'm in engineering.
Now, I will say this, and to Fastcart's point, we do want to encourage people that, there is this aspect of people will need people to fly these ships, right? I mean, a lot of people who I know own ships say they don't want to fly them. They'll let somebody else fly them, Now, mind you, that's until we start getting damaged and you have to pay for it. But for now, people are happy to let other people fly their ships. The CIG has told us that they're going to be able to allow owners to designate roles in ships where maybe, like right now, currently, I don't know if you guys know this or have done this before, but your co-pilot can now call on radio communications for you while you're piloting the ship. Some people didn't know that because it wasn't working that way for quite a while. But now if someone is in the co-pilot seat, they can call. People can handle weaponry. People can do all types of other things. Once you start being able to designate these roles to people, it's going to be really, really nice and give people purpose for being in a ship other than just riding for the ride to get to a destination. And so I think that if you don't own, like fastcart doesn't own a Carrack, there'll be plenty of people who say, hey, fastcart, we need somebody to help us on this ship. Yep. Go ahead, Shiver.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying fastcart. I need you to help me on my ship.
So
how will you pay me?
Yeah, I mean, and there will be people who will pay you because the reality of it is that I want my ship to get someplace safely and in one piece, and I can take the risk of taking that ship out by myself, but I'm going to be kicking myself later just because I decided to be cheap and not hire somebody to do guns or to help do something else on the ship that was really needed. I always think about, and you guys remember this when this whole thing came up about quantum times. What do we do when it's quantuming? What are we doing?
Nah.
You know, and,
Make a sandwich.
listen, not to be funny, sometimes you are making a sandwich, you're making a personal run, right? But then there are other times where somebody is literally getting components and swapping something out because when we get to our destination, we got to be ready. I've been with people before when we've been just planning what we're going to do when we get there, and before we know it, we've arrived. So don't let this quantum time thing fool you. Why does it take so long to get through space? Believe me, you'll start realizing that you're going to wish you had that time to prepare, to meet people, or to put together something when you arrive to a destination. Especially, Kimmy, you said this earlier, when you've got a reconnaissance group that's someplace ahead of you telling you what's going on, you know, and you've got to get your game plans together and communicate.
Right, you don't want to go there, especially if you got issues with your components.
Yeah. Absolutely. So,
quick question.
Yeah.
Back to Shiver's point. You said you want a Enterprise D-size Carrack. Who are you going to find to fly that with?
He doesn't care.
Geordie LaForge. Chancellor Troy.
Data.
He says somebody.
Well,
will.
no, he's yeah.
Somebody will.
Point.
I'm sure. All right, so let me run this question past all you guys. I'm gonna start with you, Fastcart. Out of all the exploration ships, if there were two you would pick, what would be the two that you would pick definitely, that, regardless of the price and everything, that you say these are the ones I want to have?
Regardless of price?
Yeah, these are the ones you want to have, that you see yourself for your gameplay. What are the two that you would?
And my game, okay, fine, that's better. Definitely, it's a toss up between the two, between the 350p and the Mustang Beta. It's a toss up. I prefer the old Mustang Beta. We haven't really talked about that much, but I prefer the old Mustang Beta interior wise.
Yes.
But the new Mustang Beta exterior wise. So I wish there was a way to combine the two somehow, but there isn't. So so for right now, one of them probably be the 315p. Now, as far as my other yeah, I must have been thinking too. My other choice is probably between and the Kilo. So more likely probably the Kilo because it had the rover and the snub fighter.
Okay, good.
So it'll be the Kilo and the 315p.
Okay, Kimmy, how about you? If there were two you would pick to have?
Yeah, it segued to what Fastcart mentioned. It's just about having that complementary access to multiple vehicles when you're talking about exploration, and those options can open up to you. But from the standpoint of if you're a single player or it's a group of you, I would have to say the latter would be the Carrack. And then outside of that, it would be the Aquila, because you still have options within. You don't have those many options as far as going solo with the Carrack, but with the Aquila, you can go solo, but that's not encouraged. It's not to say that you cannot do it, but it's more reasonable. It's favorable to do a single person operation in the Aquila. But at the same time, what these two ships share are the fact that there's multiple vehicles and access to these vehicles you can use in game to be able to perform your task as far as whatever happens in regards to exploration, and you have to go to another ship, or you may even have to abandon something, but you're still able to have access to multiple vehicles. And that's what I like about those two aspects, that you may be limited crew wise, but you have the full complementary tools to do exploration. So I would say Carrack number one, Aquila close to.
Two big ships.
Okay, fair enough. Shiver, how about you?
I could cheat and say the Carrack and the Freelancer Dur. But I'll go with the Carrack for sure, because it's Carrack.
Okay.
If you have a serious long-term plan for exploration that you want to commit to, Carrack, it's the only way to do it. But I think Carrack and the 315p or the Bang Stang are a good combination, because then you've got something stupidly huge to help you last that long. Don't go there, fastcart. And then you've got the smaller ship for the agility and exploring those smaller areas that you can't get to. And if you can fit said smaller ship inside of the Carrack, then the perfect combination,
Before Griffin gives his answer, I just want to say I would bet money I know what one of his ships is going to be.
Oh yeah, but Shiver made a good point though. He said the two things he said: longevity and something similar to that. It's with the Carrack. It's one of the things that stand out from all the other ships. It has those reserve fuel tanks, so they nail that to say you want to be on the fringes. You can definitely do it with the Carrack because of those fuel tanks.
All right, so you say you know what I'm gonna say, huh?
He's going
Fastcart. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go for the Aurora LX. No, just kidding. Yeah, you're right. I am definitely going for the 600i, and it's based upon the fact that I really believe that CIG is going to do a rework on it. I'm not happy with the exploration design because I feel like it could be a lot more than what it is right now. So I'm looking forward to that, and I do appreciate the fact of what Shiver said earlier and Fastcart about how luxury, or whether it was Kemi, luxury does not have to be ugly. Exploring doesn't have to be ugly, because they gave me a different perspective of thinking about. I am always thinking about the grittier side of exploration, but you're right. There are those times where it's just a matter of going out and finding a nebula or finding some other area, and I think that's a very cool thing. So yes, that's X600i, and then of course the Carrack would have to fall into the next one, just because I think it's the fullest expression of what exploration is going to be in Star Citizen, unless they build Shiver's 1,000 yard a meter ship later on. I don't know, but for now, those two would be the two that I would pick. So
I'm changing my answer. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Real quick, change my answer a little bit. I'm not really changing my answer, but between the Aquila and the 600, it's really a close call. I didn't even address that, but yeah, I mean, for value and purpose-wise, they're almost the same, but the 600 does have an extra oomph. But I still have to say the Aquila, because the 600 doesn't match my aesthetics to per se.
Okay. Kimmy, were you going to say
something? Oh, go ahead.
No, what were you going to say? I was saying, what were you going to say?
And I want to share this with everyone, and this is like one of the things I kept to myself for a while, but it's something about the 600 in my bones, man. I don't know what it is, but I try to ignore it. It just keeps coming back, and I can't get rid of it. But it's this one aspect. I think it's something there that will make this ship so special, and I truly believe this deep down in my bones. So if it happens, you've heard it here first. That 600i, okay, will have one of the very unique things about its ability, and that will be the ability to explore the water, underwater. I truly believe that this ship will have that capability.
Real quick, that may be why it doesn't have windows.
I've been pushing on that though. I honestly did, because there were some people who did some videos of that ship like it was floating on water, and I said it would be so cool if it was actually capable of doing that and even go underwater. But who knows? But it does have that look, right? It kind of has that voyage to the bottom of the sea kind of. I'm going back in the clock there.
But when you scale it up, you stay within that manufacturer family. You scale it up to the 890 jump. And then you're talking about, tourism. And then see, it's a soft exploration with 890. I can kind of put this is the beauty of Star Citizen, is that it lends to these layers of gray. It's nothing black and white. It's nothing black and white. It's layers of gray. And when you look at what the 890 can do, and what you would think that in its full realized abilities, I foresee that ship will be able to go to these water planets and land, and then you'll be able to take the scene of those sunsets on the water, and then your tourist is like just throwing money up to you, like, here, take my money, look at this beautiful scene. But I don't see it going in the water, but it stays on the surface of the water. So it lends it to that family or that manufacturer of that style that it lends to be connected to.
Hey, CC Slick,
I cannot shake it. 07. CC Slick.
Real quick,
I cannot shake that in my bones.
It's the first time for Soul Citizen. Kimmy made it rain, and it was just for you.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, if the 600 does explore underwater, would that make it a sub-capital class?
Well, according to Kimmy, your shirt is gray because there's no white or black. So kind of keep that in mind, too.
Yes.
That's another thing that he said as well.
He's looking good, ladies and gentlemen. He's looking sharp.
Well, listen, we're getting ready to wrap up. But before we go, I didn't realize that I forgot to change the title of the stream. There's always something I forget in my old age.
I saw it, but we were too far in.
I know, I changed it. I changed it about 10 minutes in. But there may be some people who came here because of the title, because it said that we're going to give away a gray cat. And so since that was there, and I don't want to do any false advertising, if anybody's interested in a gray cat, we're going to do it we did do it last time we were on. But our good friend Standard Dev donated it back to us to give away because he has too many of them. So, if you would like to be in the raffle for a gray cat, which they were giving away, as you guys know, last week, put in ! Gray cat, and that's gray with an E. ! Gray cat, if you all would punch that in now. We're going to give you a couple seconds to do that if you're interested in a gray cat. I know a lot of you guys already own gray cats. You could always give it to somebody else, but punch it in if you're interested in getting one. You can always give it away. But put in that, please, and I see we're coming in little by little here. So if you're interested in getting a gray cat, the golf cart, which can fit in just about almost all the ships that have backs in them. You know, somebody actually put one of those things in a Cutlass Red. I was pretty amazed at that. I don't know how they got it in there. Seemed kind of weird, but they actually put a gray cat in a Cutlass. I don't know why you put a gray cat in a Cutlass Red. Well, you know, there's this thing about putting things in things with a lot of people in Star Citizen. I don't know what the fascination is with that, but there is this thing that goes on with that. What were you going to say?
I want to drop two nuggets here.
I don't know if CC Click did it on purpose, but he put a space in between exclamation point and a word.
Yes, don't put an exclamation point between. Don't use good grammar. Gray cat is all one word. I'm sorry I didn't specify that. So don't. Yes, Scuba Steve. Yes, there you go. And yes, it is rigged, Scuba. It is rigged raffle, just so you'll know ahead of time. We've already pre-picked out who will get it. And
I want to drop two nuggets, guys.
Yeah, go ahead. After you drop your nuggets, we'll do the raffle.
This is on the whole gamut or the exploration, what we're talking about. This is on the development side, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this. I just want to put it out there. In regards to SIG creating new locations and new areas, I don't feel as though that they're going to skip or overwrite what the lore team has laid down as this foundation. So my point here is this. Pyro is our next location, obviously, right? So what are in those locations?
I don't know, but go ahead because we got the raffle to do. Go ahead. Don't leave us hanging too long.
Jump points is my point.
Jump points.
Of course.
So I'm looking at this as a clue or to the narrative of how they're going to build out these systems. They cannot overtake what the lore team has put down. Basically, they have to follow those jump points in the development of these systems. It wouldn't make sense.
Right. And I think we even talked about that a little bit before, Kimmy, I think we kind of put in that we thought that definitely Pyro, definitely Nyx because of Delamar being already completed. And then there've already been allusions to Kano, and there's been allusions to even Terra because we saw them start working. And we knew they were working on Terra a long time ago.
The water planet.
But the fact that they've started showing clothing, which is the same thing they did for Microtech, kind of lends itself to maybe Terra might be somewhere down the road as well.
And Yes. So in other words, the jump points are your breadcrumbs as to where they need to go or where they have to go, because it wouldn't make sense for them to change out the jump points
Right.
when they already have these systems laid out. So there's your breadcrumbs.
Let me explain a little bit deeper what Kimmy's saying. He's saying all you got to do is look at where the jump points are in the current systems we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kimmy. They lead to where we may be going next. That's pretty much what you're saying, right?
Yes, it would not make sense for them to create a system where it would go against the narrative of where the jump point connects those systems.
Good point. Very good point.
Just to put a little buzz out there.
Yep. Very, very good point. So that means break out your ARC maps, folks, and start looking. That's what that means.
Study your systems. Study your systems.
All right, after you, I'm gonna do the raffle after you, Fastcart. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a while. Like you said, the person doesn't have to be gritty or dirty, like I said, in that field, but it can be dangerous. Like for instance, there is a system in Star Citizen that has a black hole, and as far as that, we don't know where the jump points are going to be in relation to that black hole. So maybe you could become trapped as soon as you jumped in, or you may be expecting some time dilation, like a prison system that you can't get out for about 24 hours in no time, and there could be other dangers in relation to that. So I think it may not be all cut and dry easy as you expect it to be. Probably will be some challenges.
Yeah. There's one other thing, too, I want to hit on that you just mentioned, and forgive me for bringing up another subject, but it does have to do with the exploration aspect. Kimmy, you alluded to the fact that people were talking about the landing gear at one time. Another thing that folks talked about was, remember the antenna issue, that there were antennas on the ship, whether they were retractable, whether they weren't, and they talked about the fact that those antennas would help the Carrack navigate when it's trying to set the computers and stuff for navigating through a wormhole. At 2949, last year's Star Citizen, we saw a demonstration of the Carrack going through a jump point, and there was a bit of navigation. There was a bit of navigation that went through that. Now, I'm very curious to what you guys think, because I remember Cosmics mentioning this, talking about how going through a wormhole would be a very dangerous thing, and that the first time you go through, there's literally a lot of danger to it until your computer has recorded it, and then it knows how to go through the right way. She was trying to navigate through, and she was struggling. You could tell there were some times she got really close on the edge while she was trying to go through, right? But I've also distinguished the fact that there are those wormholes that one had a gate to it, what some people would call a Stargate. In other words, it's a defined wormhole that we know that it's there. And in CIG, it's talked about those wormholes that will pop up that maybe weren't there last week, and we don't know how long they'll be remaining in place. And those are the ones definitely where exploration, we don't know where the end of it is. Some of them are mapped out. We know, as we know now on the ARC map, we know where certain wormholes come out at, where certain jump points come out at. But those ones that just pop up out of nowhere, that brings a whole nother level of exploration and danger, as you mentioned, Fastcart, because you may go through that bad fella and all of a sudden you're light years someplace else, and then guess what? It's gone when you come back. So it'll be really interesting to see how they do that.
Like that one.
Well, the Galactic Guide alluded to the story on that.
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Fastcart.
I just like that one. I think it was TND episode where the Ferengi got stuck in the unstable behind an unstable wormhole.
Yeah,
that stuff like that could possibly happen. But for something fun in Test Squadron, what most of us are a member of, we have a we have a rule. That rule is not the right word for it, but it's something that we want to do when the game is released. The first person or first test squadron to find a wormhole, you get to name it. That's the other thing about exploration. You can name wormhole when you find them. But if test squadron, whatever a test squadron member finds it, it'll automatically be called Lando's Hole.
Okay. All right, so we're going to do the giveaway.
So about that constellation of Quilla.
We're going to do our giveaway now. Exclamation Gray Cat with an E.
I can't wait to blockade with Lando's Hole. I don't know about the rest.
All right, we're going to roll. Here we go. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And our winner is Dirk C. Dirk the man. Dirk C. 07 Dirk. Congrats on the Gray Cat. Dirk, drop me a message in the direct messaging. Send me your email that is associated to your Star Citizen account, and we will get that gray cat out to you, my friend.
Give it a go with Microtech, Dirk.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank again tonight Shiver Bathory. Shiver, thank you again so much, all the way from Japan, looking good. Bright day behind him. He says it's hot in Japan, you guys. So for those of us in the U.S. who hate him right now, it says it's warm there. But thank you again. So give our peace and love to all the people at Relay. We know they've been supporting us. Tell them we say thank you so much for lending you to us tonight. We appreciate it. We do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's nice meeting you, Shiv.
Again, Shiver, tell everybody where they can find you.
I love you, Kemi.
Yes, he does.
Oh, God.
These two guys have been looking forward to getting together so much because they're into the same thought patterns when it comes to Star Citizen. So
The whole pre-show, I wish we could have recorded that because they were just going back and
yeah,
forth.
I know. We didn't even have nothing to say. That's because they were both dressed up. Shiver, tell everybody one more time where they can find you.
You can find me over on twitch.tv/Shiver_Bathory. We do VTM game, which is fun. I also do Metal Show, which I don't think anyone would be interested in, over on the base.sc, which is Friday in normal people's time, and relay.sc.
Awesome.
It's going to be an honor crewing up with you, Shiv.
Where can we find you, Kimmy?
As soon as I can get space for my HOTAS.
Kimmy, where can they find you on Twitch? Where can they find you, buddy?
Oh, wow. On Twitch, Kemi65 WDP Fool, hashtag, of course. I'm there, man. You're going to get notifications when I go live. Come on, hang out. Let's talk. Let's game craft theory and let's play. Let's have fun.
Thanks. Fastcart, how about you? Where can people find you?
Before I forget, Lady State Patrol after you said that she liked the 600i behind me. That should be
Oh, yeah, the executive
we haven't
edition.
talked about that. Yeah, what money tier is that? That's the 20.
That's when you're Legatus pack to get that one.
I got 27,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. so she said she liked that. I like it too. It was one of the few black, like if the 600i came in that format, I would be all. That doesn't sound right. I would want it. But and she asked what I hope would be included in the 600i Explorer repolish. Maybe I don't know, really, but we'll have to see. But I'm looking forward to it. But people can find me at fast_cart on twitter.com. I'm on here. Sometimes Relay, sometimes Cat and Table. Sometimes on the VTM with Shiver. I'm all over
Don't forget Miss Hart Show.
Yeah, Miss
Hart
Hart.
Show. Thank you. Too many things.
Miss Hart.
Absolutely. And I'm Griffin Gaming RPG, one of the hosts of the show. And guess what? I'm going to start streaming again. Kimmy helped me out last week with getting my new rig going. So hopefully this week I'll be back out streaming. So follow these guys on Twitch. They're all a great bunch of people. And yes, Fastcart, you always have one more thing. What is it, Fastcart?
No, sorry. I just want to say thank you for coming on. He's one of my longest friends. We've been probably 2015 when we started. So it's been quite a few years. So I've known him for quite a while. Thank you for coming on. Also, Timber.
We started flirting on INN.
Started too. Timber, step into my office.
He's got the picture.
Here we go again.
There we go. All right. Well, again, thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Kimmy, Dirk is wondering if you're going to stream tonight. I don't know if he's telling him yes or nay. Or he's probably a long day.
I see that. Hey, Dirk. I don't know. Man, I got a 4 a.m.
He's got to work.
Man, yeah.
Not tonight.
Oh.
But Dirk, we appreciate you coming. Dirk, don't forget to send me the message if you haven't. I see you did already, so cool. I'll make sure I get that out to you. And thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate you guys. Be safe, stay safe, and we will see you guys next week. Our show next week is titled Show Me the Money. So yeah, if you're into that money thing with Star Citizen, yeah, we won't have any, but we'll talk about it. Okay? Anyway, let's see who can we raid tonight. Let's see who we've got.
And before that, one more thing about the constellation of Cleveland.
Oh, damn it, Parker. I was going to say that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, we're gonna
You
go.
can have all the
see-
good lines.
Yeah, we're gonna go send everybody over to Captain Burks. You guys stop in, tell Captain Burks hello from all of us, and again, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. And take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Peace, love, and soul.